Hey Slinkies, it's me. I'm back with an actual sit-down video. This is unheard of. I'm here for one thing and one thing only today, and that is, of course, to talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day. Now, by the time I'm posting this, it's probably been about a week since I saw the movie. I saw it on opening day, and I've not stopped thinking about it since I saw it. So, I thought I'd make a video kind of giving my thoughts, my opinions. I love to watch an Easter egg breakdown. I love to watch people who genuinely know everything about Marvel break down the movies. However, I'm just here unscripted. I have some bullet points, but overall I'm here just giving my thoughts as they come. If you're looking for some really deep Easter eggs, comic references being pulled out that haven't already been discovered, you're not going to find it here. So I'm just here to talk. We're just here to yap. Anyways, let's just get into the review. Honestly, I don't know what there is to say other than the fact that I'm obsessed with this movie. And fuck recency bias, I genuinely do believe that this movie is the best Spider-Man movie. Period. Point blank, period. I was talking to my friends about this. Maybe it just hits a little bit different for me and other fans around my age group that have grown up with Spider-Man since we were literally in diapers, especially Tom Holland's Spider-Man in particular, because he's grown up with me. I've been a Marvel fan pretty much my entire life, and Tom Holland's Spider-Man has always been around my age. I mean, obviously the other Spider-Man I was watching when I was much younger, but I do feel a kind of deeper connection with Tom Holland's portrayal because he was the most childlike, like he acted the most like a teenager. All the Spider-Man actors have had their time and they've all been amazing, but you know, something about Tom Holland's just speaks with me, being a nerd, and you know, his movies coming out around the time that I was in high school and in college and stuff. I did have this deeper thought after coming out of this movie because No Way Home came out 5 years ago and I was 19 years old, and you know, Tom Holland's Spider-Man was 18 years old or so, about to go to college and stuff. So the things that they were dealing with, other than villains coming through the multiverse and attacking him, you know, the internal things, college and admissions and relationships and stuff like that, were the similar kind of issues that I saw in myself. Time kind of flew when I really sat back and thought about, wow, it's really been 5 years. I was 19, I'm 24 now. And Tom Holland's Spider-Man is about that age. And to see how he's been forced to mature and the problems that he's having now are a lot more adult problems, I felt more for his character because I saw myself in it a little bit. I'm not a super powered white boy from Queens, but you get me. I definitely came out of the theater looking back not only on his journey and Peter's journey throughout the MCU films, but also I kind of was looking at my life when I was 19 and how it's grown, and like so much has changed that I didn't even really stop to think about. That's besides the point though. Obviously, if you're watching this, you've seen the movie because there are spoilers ahead. I should have clarified that. When I tell you guys that Hulk fight scene, quite literally my favorite Hulk fight scene that I've ever seen. It was everything that I wanted in a Hulk fight scene that they just never gave us before. The thunderclap that they just forgot that he could do. It was just so good. I mean, a lot of the comic book references throughout the movie in general, and like just the style of the way that the movie was filmed, just gave so much nostalgia. I don't know if that's the right word. I think nostalgia. In the intro of the movie, they show him fighting all these different villains as they're kind of like going through the time gap that we've missed. They kind of show different Spider-Man comic book covers, which I think was a really nice touch. I feel like Marvel kind of started to lose their way a bit, and I say that as a lifelong diehard fan. I'm not going to say that, you know, all of their movies lately have been bad. I really liked Thunderbolts. I really liked Fantastic Four. I even liked some of the ones that people thought were flops a couple years ago. I liked Black Widow. I liked Shang-Chi. I even liked Eternals. Believe it or not. Saw Eternals 3 times in theaters. I'm very easy to please when it comes to Marvel movies, honestly. But I was starting to get a little disappointed in some of the stuff we were getting. And I'd be lying if I say that, recently with these movies, I'm not a little bit nervous going into the theater, because it is a lot less guaranteed that you're going to get a hit movie. Obviously, as a fan, we all want every movie to be a banger, but they're not all going to be. So I tried not to get my hopes too up with this one, as I did with Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which was hugely disappointing to me personally. As a fan, you're really looking for all these possible things that could happen in a 2.5 hour long movie, and 98% of them don't happen, and then we walk out disappointed. So I tried not to get my hopes up, which I think also helped my experience, but honestly, it didn't really need it, because this movie exceeded my expectations. Obviously, the elephant in the room, Sadie Sink's character being Jean Grey, I kind of knew that was gonna happen. I heard her playing Mary Jane Watson, her playing Gwen Stacy. I heard a lot of theories, and I think I was kind of hoping for the Jean Grey of it all, so I was pleasantly surprised. She did a fucking phenomenal job, but I'm honestly not surprised. I wasn't worried about her. I think hopefully, she continues. I mean, I know that Marvel has introduced actors and characters that we don't see again for years or potentially ever again. So I'm really hopeful that her character remains important. I'm sure it will, but I really do hope so. I mean, yeah, it was great. I mean, I'm kind of just going off the dome here, so I don't have a set script. I apologize if this is kind of all over the place. I don't know how it's going to end up being. Obviously, the MJ and Peter arc of it all, devastating and sad. That rooftop scene where Jean Grey was in MJ's head and was pretending to remember who Peter was, but was faking it. That was actually heartbreaking. I remember I was shaking low-key in my seat, because I was like, this can't be, there's still a whole lot of movie left. I was starting to get scared, because something had to happen. And then she threw herself off of the building, and I got PTSD flashbacks. So glad nothing happened to my girl, but the whole movie I was kind of under distress, I feel. And that's been, I think, my experience in a Marvel movie since Infinity War, honestly. It's like I walk into the theater and I'm shivering, and not because I'm cold. I am genuinely shaking for my friends. I'm worried for my friends. I don't know who's gonna die these days. And if something were to have happened to MJ in that, that would have been an unredeemable moment for Jean. At least in my eyes. In my eyes, it would have been an unredeemable moment for her. And oh my gosh, the letter scene where MJ found Peter's letter, I saw him put the letter down, and I'm like, ooh, she's gonna find that. She's gonna find that. And it was a way more emotional scene than I could have prepared myself for. And then the parallels between them and the Star-Lord and Gamora arc, which also had me heartbroken and in shambles when Guardians 3 came out. Oh my god. 1 second. Anyways, I lost my train of thought. Back to Peter and his arachnid DNA kind of overtaking his human DNA. He goes to see Dr. Banner. Between the two of them, he ends up inventing a universal inhibitor, which I'm assuming, and I've seen many people talking about this online, it being the same things that end up being used against mutants in the X-Men movies. So if that is what happens in, Earth 616's universe and how those inhibitors come to be, it being Peter Parker's fault ultimately, that would be absolutely crazy. I know people have mentioned that, the MCU already had those because they used it on Wanda in Civil War. And hey, I honestly don't know. It's an interesting thought nonetheless. Also, I saw people talking about how that if they go that way with the plot, it could lead to, a Civil War vibe, like in the comics, the X-Men versus the Avengers. A lot of these theories, I love to think about them, but Marvel tends to not really think as hard as their fans do. So I kind of doubt that being the case, but regardless, I mean, leave a comment down below what you think the theory is there, if you believe it, if you don't believe it. I'm curious to know. One of the last things I want to touch on, just overall umbrella points, is Ned and Peter's friendship and that also being equally as heartbreaking as him and MJ's situation, if not more so. I feel like people tend to care more about romantic storylines, but not really focusing on like friendship plot lines like this. Not only did Peter lose, yes, you know, the girl that he loved, but he lost his best friend, like his best friend. And that's fucked up. I wanted to shed some light on that and how heartbreaking that whole thing is. That scene where, you know, after MJ reads the letter and finds out everything, and she brings him to her apartment and, you know, introduces him to Ned. That scene was my favorite scene, I think, between the three of them, or even just like Ned and Peter in general. Being able to sit down with his friends and like build a Lego set was just so perfect. I feel like it's extra sweet now looking back on it because a couple days ago, which was a couple days after I watched the movie, I watched Spider-Man Homecoming with my boyfriend. I was kind of watching it with a different lens, keeping everything that I just saw in Brand New Day in mind while watching Homecoming. It was like really sad. I was like, aw, these are like little kids and they don't even know what they're about to go through. Ned and Peter having their handshake at the end of the movie, that was so good. And I've seen a couple theories about this, whether it was just Ned's muscle memory remembering the handshake, or if Jean kind of like, you know, during the boss fight, Jean being in their heads kind of like shook something loose and broke Doctor Strange's spell a little bit, because we do see MJ at the end of the movie sitting on the rooftop that they all sat on in No Way Home and holding the necklace that Peter gave her. So it's kind of hinted at that they're remembering, or they're starting to remember, and I hope that that's the case. But I've also seen some people just saying that that's just Ned's muscle memory kind of remembering that he did that with somebody, and remembering Peter because MJ said that Spider-Man's name was Peter in the movie. So it can kind of go either way. I'm kind of leaning towards, I hope that they're starting to remember, because again, Jean getting in Bruce's head shook loose this whole thing to make him Professor Hulk, which I'm so glad she did that. I don't know if that was also supposed to kind of like give us that idea that like her getting in people's heads, she has that ability to kind of like break spells and mess with things. Again, I'm not sure. You can leave a comment down below again on your thoughts on that. The Punisher was such a great addition to this movie, I think. A lot of people were wondering where Daredevil was and yada yada. And at the end of the day, I didn't think anything was missing from the movie. I mean, if Daredevil was there or had a cameo, that would have been cool, but he already did have a cameo in No Way Home. So I don't think anything was missing by him not being there. I think John Bernthal kind of having his spotlight moment was cool, and him having a bigger role with Peter, because they are such different characters in a similar way to how the Punisher and Daredevil are very different, and that's what makes their character dynamic so interesting to watch. Is I think it's similar with Peter and the Punisher. Frank really brought a really good comedic relief to the movie that didn't seem forced, because there's some Marvel movies that really force the comedy to the point where you're like, okay, like cut that shit out. And I think his was effortless and it fit his character. It's also not like they took his character and made it completely 180 degrees different. I think overall he was an amazing addition to the movie. I also think, big spoiler warning here, that, you know, when he shot at Jean and hit Peter, I really did think for half of a second that he was a goner, and I was really like in the theater, like I was like, huh. If the Punisher is the person who's responsible for Peter's death, I would be absolutely fucking floored. That would have been such a gag, it's like not even funny. But I'm also so glad that that's not what happened. And I think that their friendship and them acknowledging that they have a friendship at the end was a very, very, very cute scene. And I think both of their characters really needed that. As we know, Frank is kind of like a solo dolo guy and he has no friends, and Peter's obviously going through what Peter's going through, so them kind of forming like that duo was really fun to watch and heartwarming. So I think it was great.
What are you doing here? She tells me I gotta come watch you. Did she actually say that to you? Are you blushing? You're supposed to wear a mask!
That's about it. 1 second. I have a puppy. If you guys don't know, I don't think you guys do. But I have a puppy. Her name is Slinky. And she is fucking evil. Ow. 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 She just had my whole hand in her mouth. I have to keep getting up because she's doing something she's not supposed to do. Stop. Stop. She's literally trying to eat the clothes off of my body right now. That's about all I had for you guys. I wanted to keep this short and sweet. Please leave comments below, you know, about any part of the movie that I talked about, or even just your favorite parts, things that you liked, things you didn't like. What did you guys think? Overall, I would give the movie a 9 out of 10, maybe a 9.3 out of 10. It was, again, like I said in the beginning of the video, the best Spider-Man movie in my opinion. So I actually have been thinking about doing a series of Marvel-related videos leading up to Doomsday in December. I already have my tickets pre-ordered. It's serious for me. So yeah, if you like the video and you want to see more stuff like this, please subscribe. I also do gaming videos. I stream on Twitch at SlinkyStar, and I am gonna start posting more, you know, highlight videos of my VODs from Twitch on here. So if you're interested in that, I also vlog. I do a lot of theme park vlogs, and I want to start just kind of vlogging more my day-to-day life. So if any of those things interest you, you know what to do. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.